Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to continue working on Speed Cola. Let's get started. Okay, so last time we were using onUse. We set up a craft item and then with a callback onUse so that when we consume this soda, it will affect the player. Now, an important piece of the puzzle before we can get into actually affecting the physics of the player and things like that is we need to understand part of the variables that are passed into onUse. Here is the Lua API comments on onUse. This is the only place that they talk about it. And you can see here that there are three things that can be passed into onUse. Item stack, user, and pointed thing. Item stack is the thing that you are consuming, the thing that you're using. And so what you'll want to do with that is take. You're going to want to take from that item stack. But we'll get there later. I digress. I'm sorry. So we're talking about user. User, of course, is referencing the person that is actually using the item. Now it doesn't really give you a whole lot else, but down here, the user may be an object reference or nil. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this term object reference, because this is a very important term, and this is the way that we will get further information. And unfortunately, if you just search for ObjectRef, there are too many occurrences of that in the Lua API that it won't be of any use. So what we're going to do is we are going to search for object reference, and then, hang on. Okay, so on line 5917 is where my Lua API describes the object references. Now, yours is going to be different, more than likely, because it's a different version of Minetest. But around about 5,000, you can do a search. You find object reference, and then start just going through. Just find next until you see this part of your Lua API, if you want to read this. Which actually, I think I do need you to read this. And it looks like if you do, if you add these little quotation, single quotation marks, then let's see, find all in current document. I guess it doesn't find it. So, what is that, anyways? So it looks like if you want to find the exact location, you can search this text here, and maybe I can stick that on the video, on the description. But basically, it's single quote, object ref, single quote, and then a bunch of hyphens. Excuse me, a bunch of hyphens, and that should get you to this line. There's only one occurrence of that in the entire document. Now, moving right along. So this object reference, they're talking. It can be different entities in the world. However, in our case, it's going to be the user, and so they're just kind of talking about object references, and then but I want to direct your attention down here to methods. So we've heard the word methods before, and it refers to some sort of use, some sort of function, if you will. For instance, node underscore or register underscore node is a method of the Minetest mod, and so it gives you certain functionality. And just by reading these methods, it kind of gives you an idea of what they do. This one it returns the position of whichever object reference you're requesting, okay? And so on and so forth. So I just want you to understand, kind of preliminary, these are ways of getting information about an object reference. So, but how do we actually use these methods. Okay, so let's take this example here. I have a craft item. This is how far you should be. We have a craft item, which we've given a name. We have just kind of given it some generic description. And we have started the onUse callback and defining the onUse callback as such and in this format using the function format. Okay, so we are passing into this function user. So user is that object reference. Now, to access any of the methods, for instance, to get position, you would do this. Now, bear in mind that depending on the method that you access, it will return different information. Okay, but I'm just going to show you how to reference it, and don't run this code because it's not going to work. But this is how you reference. You type user : get underscore position, open and close parentheses, because I suppose it's a function of some kind. And that right there is how you would request the position of a particular object reference. The syntax is a colon. Now, going back over to the Lua API, we can see that there's a bunch of other methods. Get position is fairly straightforward, right? The set position. Before I move on, get position. It returns a table because we know that because it's within curly braces. And so if you were going to use the get position, you would need to set this to like some sort of variable so that you can catch that table and then use it later on. And we will need that. I think that's actually something we'll need. But here we have a set position, and that's kind of fun. So you can actually set the position of a player when you use a certain drink or when you use this item. And here is the syntax. So position, they're telling you position is defined as such. So you don't have to write POS. You can simply plug this table into or in the place of position. Bear in mind that you need, in this table, you need to write explicitly x equals and then some sort of integer or variable that holds an integer. So that's position. And so on and so forth. Move to, and very nicely they give you information about these different methods and why they're preferable to others or whatever it might be. Here's a fun looking one, and this is only the third or fourth down the list, right? Punch, puncher, time from last punch, tool capabilities, direction. So it looks like you're able to cause, I guess, damage to various things. Maybe this is to the object reference, that you're referencing. In which case, in our case, it would be the actual user. But if you were to use this one, it looks a little bit complex. So it's asking for a puncher, which, another object reference. So do you have that? I don't know. And so on. So be careful with that one. It may or may not be obtainable at this time. Here's another interesting one. Get inventory, so you can kind of see what they have. Then get wheeled list. What are they wielding? Wheeled index, wheeled item, wheeled item. So there's a bunch of stuff, and it goes on and on, all the way down to. So these right here that we've been reading are the generic, whether it's a player or an entity, they pertain to both. Now this is entity only, and those are mobs and various other items that are useful as being entities. And then here we've got a continuation of player-specific methods, and so you can get the player name, which is very important, and various other things. So you get the look direction, all kinds of stuff, and you can set the look direction, set the look yaw, you set the look horizon, whatever, set breath, set get breath, whatever, you know. So it's fun. This opens up the capability of adjusting the actual player's condition, enhancing or pulling away from, maybe, you know, whatever. You're able to change the players in the game. And remember, this is all because of what's called the object reference. Now, how can we actually find out more information? How can we actually test these different methods out without crashing the game an excessive number of times? Because that's just annoying. Well, I've written a tool which helps you explore some of the methods, which allows you to kind of just look inside the methods and see what's going on, and how can I possibly use this method. Now, of course, you can simply use these methods, for instance, like so. You could write it out like that, and you could define the position and whatnot, right? So you could do that, and that would work. That would work just fine. However, get position would not work, right? Because it's returning some sort of value, and so sometimes you don't know what that value is, and you'll get these errors that says, "Hey, I expected this, but I got nil," whatever, right? So I have written this function called ifor, or if it's a for, if whatever, it allows you to look inside of something that's returned, and it'll tell you what is in that returned value, whether it's a list, and if it is a list, it will return the items in that list, and then if it's a string, it'll simply print the string, the value of that string. And then if it's something else, it'll just tell you, hey, this is something else which I don't know what to do with, but this is what it is. This is the type of variable. And so from there, you can then decide how you want to view that item, if necessary, if you really want to. So I'm going to be putting this function, ifor, in the description of this video. And what I want you to do is I want you to go through a bunch of the methods and just try them out. Try out some different methods. Use the ifor in order to test to see, like, hey, what is this? And that will pertain typically to getting information. As far as setting information, you're just going to have to, work your way through that. And I don't have any clean, nice function for testing that sort of those methods. But anyways, So yeah, go through the list, try out, let's just say 10. Try out 10, whether you get them to work. I'd prefer that you get them to actually work. If you can't, if you spend like 4 minutes, 5 minutes on one and you just can't figure it out, that's fine, just move on. That counts. But I really want you to try these different methods just to see. Find some interesting ones that you're like, hey, that looks really fun. That would be really interesting to change up. And do that. So once you've done those, take a picture. So list the 10 in your on use. So you're going to be typing them right here on use, and just have them one after another. If it doesn't work, then just comment it out so I can see that you tried. And of course, I want to know, like, if you call me over and say, hey, Mr. McLean, I'm trying this. What do I need to do? Then I know, yeah, okay, comment that out. We're not going to do that for now, or whatever it might be, whatever the case is. So that's what I want you to do, and yeah, go have some fun.